Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Do you even know what Edale is? It's not a trick question. If you were in the Yorkshire Dales, then Dentdale is quite clearly the dale, the valley, where Dent is. And it's the same with Edale. It's often called the Edale Vale, but Edale is the dale leading from the village of Edale, which most people associate as being Edale, all the way up to Jacob's Ladder. The name Edale could mean a lot of things. One strong suspect is the French Norman word for water, which the French word is eau for water, isn't it? So, water vale, the valley of the water. And certainly water plays a big part. Another name could be Vale of Islands, because it was very boggy, still is very boggy, and there are lots of islands down the vale, and that could be where the name came from. It's a beautiful day, no matter what you want to call it, down this place. So the islands down Edale are all of the booths, because there are a lot of them. Barber Booth, Nether Booth, Oller Booth, and the one that most people forget, Grindsbrook Booth. When you get to Edale Parish Church, which is a lovely building, never been round it, you're coming to the edge of Edale, and we're heading up into what most people would sort of say would be the heart of Edale, which is the Nag's Head pub. But actually, the Nag's Head pub is at Grindsbrook Booth, another booth. And today we are heading up Grindsbrook, so we'll think about that name when we get onto a bit closer. Much lighter pack tonight. We're hovering around about the 10 kilogram mark. Of course, I'm not carrying water because I'm heading up Grindsbrook, and there's some very good water sources along the way. Now, Grindsbrook, the name of that is the brook, obviously, is the stream, the brook. The Grins part, now I originally thought it had something to do with grind. Some people call it Grindsbrook, and grinds makes a lot of sense in Sheffield, with the cutlery and sharpening and all the various millstones and sharpening stones. So it does make sense. But actually, it is a person or a figure, Grin. It's Grin's stream. And Grin, well, we don't know for certain, but we think it comes from Norse times. Grin was either a leader or a god or the leader of the gods, and this was his vale, his brook. And just there, that mighty hill, is Grindslow. And Grindslow simply means Grin's hill. So low is hill, kind of the opposite. So we've got those two names. Now behind me, up on the top there, is the Nab. And many of you will know the Nab is a very fast way up onto Kinder, very steep, but very fast. And if you follow up the Nab to the top, you get to Ringing Roger, which is an unusual name for a place, isn't it? Ringing Roger, what on earth's that all about? They think, no one's certain, it's ringing because the rock makes a noise when the wind blows past it. I've been up there a few times, and I've been up there in very heavy wind. I've never heard it make any noise. But I'm not saying that's wrong, or they didn't do in the past. And then Roger is again French Norse for rock. So it's the singing, ringing rock. I don't know whether ringing low has a similar kind of meaning, who knows. And whilst we're talking about up there, we've got to talk about the one Madwoman stones. What's that all about? Well, according to the OS map, it is a single Madwoman and it's her stones. And there is kind of like a circle of stones, and you can imagine a woman stood in the middle preaching in a mad way to imaginary or real people sat around her on the stones. No idea if that's true. And the many stories I've heard about people, about a woman going up there and going mad, and then the weather fell and she died up there, and someone banged her head up there, and all of those stories, we just don't know. It could be that when the Ordnance Survey came down here and decided to map the area, that they looked at common names or some of the names that were given, and it might just be something that, you know, a couple of people bumped into them and told them, or they asked a couple of people, what are these places called? And they said, oh, Madwoman stones. Or, yeah, that's Ringing Roger. You know, or even completely misheard the name of it. And what the person actually said was nothing like what the Ordnance Survey wrote down, and was subsequently recorded on the maps and became the name. Who knows? I'm heading up for another thing on the map today. I like looking at the maps, and that's when I noticed that Grindsbrook, Booth and Edale, and that started to get me thinking, and I did a few hours of research into the names, and that's when I came across all that rubbish I've just told you. But what I saw on the map, what I've always seen on the map up here, is a rather perplexing name. And I've never known anybody go there. There's a few references to walks there, but I think actually they're mistaken, and the walks were not to this place, they were to the edge path above this place. And because it says it rather large on the map, they just thought that the edge of the path at that place was called this name, and I'm being a bit elusive. I'll let you into the secret soon. It's a beautiful day. After the rubbish weather we've been having, it was kind of nice last week, but we were late getting up onto when it's past. And the week before I got rained off because it was bucketing it down, and I just didn't fancy walking up here in the bucketing down rain. But I'll take this. Oh yeah, definitely. I Don't suppose you spotted anything unusual? Yeah, new trekking poles. When I walked off Winnets last week, I often just use one pole when I'm coming down a steep hill, particularly if I'm got Freddy's lead. I'll update you on Freddy in a minute. And I got back to the van and I stuck the pole in the ground, got all my kit sorted out, and got in the van to do my last little bit of filming. And of course Paul and Shane got their stuff off, put it in the van, and then I drove off and left it there. So one stick's no use to me. So I've got these OEX Carbon Fiber ones, which were actually quite a lot cheaper than the Black Diamond ones. And they are, I think, 230 grams lighter for the pair of them, which is nothing, is it? But it's another 230 grams less. And all these little bits add up. You know, I wouldn't go out my way. I wouldn't spend a fortune on carbon fibre poles. But when the 45 quid and the Black Diamond ones were 57, and that's cheap for Black Diamond, the Black Diamond carbon fibre ones can be a couple of £100. So, you know, they haven't got cork grips. They haven't got the same kind of lock on the height setting, but they have got metal settings and metal nuts. Well, I had some brancher. How the brancher? I had some poles before, and they had plastic nut. Or actually, it was a brass nut with a plastic shroud on it. And when you, after a bit of wear, the plastic snaps. So I wasn't happy with them. I've still got them in case I need to lend any to anybody, but yeah, brasher, maybe. You'll also notice the top's coming off and going on rapidly. There's a good reason for that. It's I was getting hot, you know, B-balls start cold. I shouldn't have put this top on when I started. And I soon temperature started to go up. But then you get to, the sun's already below the horizon, so you're in the shade and the temperature starts to plummet. I think we're down to about 2 degrees tonight, and one way I got my pack weight down is because I'm in my bivvy, so that'll be interesting. A good chance to practice the cold weather bivvying, hopefully with no rain. Now, just in the centre of the picture of the frame there, on the hillside, towards the top, is a place called Foxholes. And I've always been fascinated by foxholes. Why is it called Foxholes? So I'm going to go and explain. I'm going to go and have a look. Now, this isn't a trick of the OS maps. This is, if you go back on maps, very early maps, it's still called Foxholes. So there might be another reason. Oh, it's looking beautiful. And an update on Freddy. Thank you so much for those people who sent kind messages wishing luck, and who have asked how he got on. Oh, that was a stressful day. They said they'd ring me at 2 o'clock to see if he'd come round from his anaesthetic. and they didn't, and it got to 4 o'clock, and oh, I was fretting, and my phone was being dodgy, and I was thinking, oh, really worried, what's wrong with him, what's wrong, thinking the worst, of course. Anyway, he was okay. He had, I think, 5 or 6 teeth out. He had 5 teeth which were dead, which I think have always been dead because they've always been a very funny colour. The one tooth that was causing him a lot of trouble, the gums are very swollen in a few places. In fact, he's got a full set of teeth, which I was really surprised about, but some of them are ground so low that they are below the gum line. Poor lad. We think it's because he's been chewing the bars of the cage, I think I said last week. Put the noise reduction on, I don't know if I need it. Yeah, and this tooth at the back had a big ulcer next to it, and quite a lot of decay, and his teeth weren't really decayed, they were just worn down. Now when the vet tried to get the tooth out, he couldn't. It had fused with the bone. Quite a few of his teeth, that had happened. We call it ankylosing, I think, or spondylitis, something like that. I know it's like the human condition which affects your spine, where the spine fuses. Yeah. So what the vet ended up doing was crowning the tooth, just taking the top off it, grinding it below the jaw surface, and then stitching it up, which obviously takes a lot of skill and a lot of time. A couple of the teeth that were fused he did manage to get out, one of the canines, which he showed me. God, they are horrendous. The vet was the best vet I have ever come across. Brilliant. He took a remarkable amount of time to explain the procedure and the issues and what he'd done and why he'd done it. So grateful to him, and it's clear that he was very skillful, and I was very happy leaving Fred in his care. Fred's recovered well. He's eating soft food. He's been out dog walking with me. He's sleeping so much better. When he used to lay down, he used to move his head quite a lot, getting quite restless, and didn't think anything of it. I just thought, oh, he's just settling in. But I think it's when he put his head down, he had to get his head just right so it wasn't pressing on his gums. Oh, poor creature. Anyway, that pain has gone now. Yeah, so he'll have a pain-free Christmas with lots of treats. Really dark now. Just been up to the Fountain of Youth and got my water. Got 2.5 litres of water. I'm just going up here now. I'll talk to you when I get back to the top. So this is Foxholes. Potentially there's a pitch here. Let's just get a bit further. Of course, I'm in my bivvy, so it really doesn't take up much space. No clue why it's called Foxholes yet. Scenario is this: it's raining. You've arrived at your pitch. Soaking wet through. All your gear's soaked. You've got your rain cover on. But we've taken some sensible steps. The first one is your kit is properly organised. I've got all my shelter in there. I'm using this. So let's find a flat bit. Transfer your dry materials inside the bag. Now what I've done, everything is in bags. So I can put all of these one at a time inside a bag here, dry clothes, and a bag here of my sleep gear. Now I could strip off now, get inside there, zip up, and then start to get dressed again. Knowing that knowing that I'm dry, my wet clothes would have gone in a spare black bag I've got. So boots off, and I have my alcohol fuel bottle is in a blue pack liner, which that's all that's in there. So my boots would go into that pack liner, and then that would go inside. By doing that, I'm keeping the moisture from my boots inside the pack liner. I can then either leave my bag outside, or what I normally do, put the boots inside my bag. This is bumpy. Right, so sleep stuff. My sleep bag, so that will go under the hood. My pillow. Some people don't roll the sleep mat up. They just fold it. That's probably how this is going to go away tomorrow morning. I would potentially bring an inflator for this, simply because when you're inside your bivvy, you ain't got a lot of chance of so that's my day pack, my backpack in a waterproof bag. and that potentially will go down the bottom of the Bivvy. It's probably going to stay there tonight. Right, I'm just going to start to organise the top of this a bit. So, I've got there's my cooking stuff, socks, warm baked beans for the morning, food, another warm top, don't need it, don't think so, rubbish bags. Right, that's going to go down the side now. So I've got that there and that there, and I'm trying to keep them inside. Yeah, so it's not perfect. It's not ideal at all, but I'm glad I'm here. Looking round, there is stars! Ha ha! That could make the dark night completely different. Definitely could. Pitch black. All I can see is the top of the edge path running around Grindsbrook. This is the edge path going round to Crowden here. Here we go. Oh yeah, smashing, that'll do. Oh, if we get stars, that'll be, I'll be really happy if we get some good stars tonight. I'm loving this camera. Its low light performance is superb. I'm going to hopefully do some good star lapses with it. But I mean, just setting up then, you know, in very, very poor light conditions, and it was working really well. What else? I think there's nothing else to say. I'm going to turn you off to save my battery. Quick update. It is 6:15. There were some stars. I tried to do a time lapse of them, but there's so much cloud going over that it were rubbish. Didn't get any effect at all, so I don't think that's going to be successful tonight, unfortunately. That's a real shame. I thought my power bank hadn't charged. I was shocked. You press the button on it, it's supposed to say the charge on it, and nothing came up. Now luckily I brought 2 USB leads, so I swapped it to another USB lead and it's charging. So I took the battery out of the 6, put it into the 5, and I'm charging it. That's another advantage of having the 5 and the 6. You can charge one of them while you're using the other. You can of course charge them when they're in use. I've been watching a bit of YouTube. It's cold. 4.5 degrees. I'm just about to set my external thermometer up. These poles are ace, they're so light. I took the basket off the bottom of this one, and I've managed to shove it in quite far, so my lantern that I normally put in my tent is supported on that. The wind appears to have dropped. Yeah, there's hardly any wind now. We were getting quite a bit gusty earlier. I've been and found myself a big rock, which I'm going to. I'll put my pool shoes on my camp slippers. And walked up to the top of Foxholes behind me. I don't know. It's very. The rocks there remind me of a quarry, but I can't find any record of it being used for a quarry. Can't particularly find any things that you would call a foxhole. I mean, I've not had a massive good look. Depending on what time I get off in the morning, I might go and have a look there. I'm just going to cook my food. I think I wasn't going to have any food, but I think I'll give it a go now. Yeah. So, what have I got? Sit up. There's me food bag. Those ramen that I had last week. These are quite spicy. I'm not going to cook them spicy. I'm not going to put the spice mix in them, so I'm just going to cook the noodles, and then I've got just a tin of tuna, which I'm going to put in with it, and I've got some sweet and sour stir fry sauce, which I'm going to put that into the boil when I put the noodles on to warm that up. I'm not going to cook the tuna. Yeah, so let's get all that going. So, a bit more fuel. Oh no, I use my small bottle first. There were a couple of those crazy bell runners going around the edge earlier. I can see their head torches on. Oh, I reckon it's well overflowed. Who knows? I don't know. Tuna, sweet and sour noodles. And good morning, people. It's a long time in a a long time laid down in a tent. It's just before dawn.
fully clagged. I can't see the ridge. I can only just see Foxholes. But you expect that, don't you? You also expect a lot of condensation, which I've got. I was ample warm. Temperature got down to 1 degree. But when it was 1 degree outside, it was 5 degrees inside. Yeah, just had a battery run out on my Osmo 6, but I thought I charged it. Grindsbrook belows.
Oh, that was a great camp. Best camp ever. Brilliant. It's nice to get somewhere on Kinder Scout that's pretty rarely camped. I had the place obviously to my own. Weather was quite good. This Clag's unfortunate, but never mind. Didn't do any sound laps. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming along with me. Do you know, I've had this really strange feeling all the time that there's been somebody watching me. Don't know what that's about. Yeah, anyway, next video will be reviewing if I get any Christmas special camping stuff. I think I might. So that'll be out next week. It might be a day late. Would be obviously being that day getting in the way. Anyway, Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope you have a wonderful family time. And that the arguments aren't too massive. Please add your comments below. I really appreciate that, and pass on my channel to other people if you think it's worth watching. Thank you. See you next week. Bye.